10? Okay. Well,
Isn't that something?
I'll give it 10 seconds then.
10. I give it a 10.
10.
Know what movie that's from?
No.
Varsity Blues, but just go ahead. Let's go.
Welcome to the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate, brought to you by Fantasy Focused and the Original Hooters. I'm Sam Holt, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Derek Tate. So happy to have you back this Saturday, and it sucks that we were not able to record last Saturday. Derek was away, I was deathly ill, and I am still rocking the antibiotics, so I won't be actually drinking during this episode, but we do have a word for our drinking game today, and it is Kobe. So anytime you hear the word Kobe, you'll be cheersing and taking a drink with us. Derek, I have to ask.
My Viking horn.
What are you drinking out of?
Big Game of Thrones fan. I'm drinking out of my Viking horn. I've got myself a roommate that is literally of Viking descent and decided to go ahead and buy one. I'm like, mother, you better buy me one too. So I went ahead and splurged on this beautiful little $25, venture. So cheers, everybody.
Drinking horn. Wonderful. Well, we're going to go ahead, and we've got a couple things to cover this episode, but we're going to start right off with the horrible news that happened this past Sunday with the passing of Kobe Bryant and the 8 other people that passed in that tragic accident. I could go on as someone that lives in the LA area and a lifelong Laker fan. I could belabor that horrible day as long as I can, but I want to focus most on what Kobe meant to all of us. So if you guys can do me a favor and sound off in the comments your favorite Kobe moment, let's go ahead and just celebrate the amazingness that was him as an athlete, as a father, and as a figure in the sports world. So go ahead and sound off in the comments. We'll go through them, and Derek and I are just going to run through some of our favorite moments that Kobe had in his career and in his life. Derek, please tell me yours to kick us off before I go ahead and bust down into tears again, because I've cried a lot this week.
So when it comes to Kobe Bryant, when you're forced to not only accept the fact that someone like Kobe, who seemed superhuman and had a superhuman life, had an extraordinary life and accomplished so much in such a short amount of time, it forces you to not only look at mortality, but kind of address your own. So it puts things in perspective. But what Kobe meant to me, there was something special about him, and you knew it from the second you saw him step on an NBA court at the age of 18. And how competitive this man was. You could just tell there was something different, special about him. The second he put on a Laker uniform, and every time he went out on the court, the man left it out on the court, wanted to put on a show, but he also put his work in outside of just the 48 minutes that take place during an NBA game. And I think that's really what I take away from Kobe is if you're going to go and try to do something, that you have to take that Mamba mentality and attack it. Like, go at everything that you do and try to be the damn best at what it is. You want to go out there, even if they're friends of yours, when you're competing, you're trying to kick their ass. That was the way that Kobe played the game of basketball. And that was the way that he attacked life. My favorite Kobe moment, how many are there? There's a ton.
There's so many amazing Kobe moments, and you can go into moments that are game winners. You can go into moments like the slam dunk competition where you saw him as a young gun ready to perform on this stage, and you saw flashes at that very first couple early years where you saw him really just start to shine bursts of light, and you're like, this guy's going to be something special. Or you can go towards the end of his career when he really started mentoring other players. And even after his retirement, you just saw things in the news where he's working with different players across the league, just honing their game and coaching them on different levels just to improve them as athletes. Going forward as well, and how he was coaching his daughter's basketball team, how he was dedicating such a big part of his life to youth sports, not just youth sports, but women's sports. And he was being very outspoken in these last couple weeks about the WNBA, about the level of play he felt those athletes had and their position in trying to elevate the conversation towards women's sports. And I mean, just he was on a roll, and he was just the continuing to go up. And as far as the wisdom and spreading that knowledge to other people in his life and his career. That's the point he was getting towards. And it was really exciting to see where he was going to next in his storytelling with his different companies. Just, yeah, just too exciting. He had so many things going and in the mix recently.
He was certainly kind of an ambassador of women's basketball.
Yeah,
I mean, of the WNBA. I mean, it was funny because, you know, I work in the sports media and I do, you know, I have a 5-minute sports broadcast that I have to come up with material every day to be able to kind of come up with sports updates. And there was a soundbite that came out when Kobe was at, I believe, a Major League Soccer game that he became very interested and invested in. He was asked by a reporter, you know, do you believe that women will be able to play in the NBA one day? And Kobe answered without hesitation saying, look, there's some girls that are in the NBA or WNBA right now that could contribute in the NBA today.
Yeah.
Name, you know, Diana Taurasi, Deladon. I mean, there was multiple players that he mentioned that without hesitation that he thinks and truly believed could play in the NBA today. So, I mean, he was certainly an ambassador of women's basketball. But my Kobe moment, though, and I'm talking on the court, the one that really stuck out to me. I mean, because I love the fact, and he loved MJ, idolized MJ, and this is my second favorite. Look, he loved and respected this man, but in his competitive spirit that I believe he got a lot of from Michael Jordan. Against the Wizards, he dropped 55 points in their last game against each other as a retirement gift. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Have fun with that. I'll see you know, one day we'll sit in here and laugh about it, but go ahead and take that 55 and, you know, sit on the couch and reminisce about that. It's my league now type of thing.
Absolutely.
But my favorite moment, Kobe in game 4 of his first NBA finals in 2000 against the Indiana Pacers. Shaquille O'Neal, who was the most dominant force in the NBA at that moment, fouled out. So now you have game 4 on the road. The series is 2-1. If the Pacers win this game, it evens at 2-2. And then it's a best of 3. And that was when Reggie Miller, he's never gotten a ring. It was probably the closest he was ever going to get.
Yep.
And then the Mamba took over. He said to Shaq, I got this. And 28 points later, they win game 4. They go on to take the rest of the series and take it in 6. And he gets his first ring, first of 5. And that was really the moment that I went, this kid is something special. This kid's got that killer mentality. Like, he's not just someone that's going to disappear in big moments. He wants the ball in big moments, and he's willing to close. He's a killer. He's an assassin. He'll go for your throat if he senses blood. So for me, for a young kid in that situation, without the most dominant player in the NBA, for him to step up and say, well, I could be the most dominant player in this game, and then he takes it home.
Yeah. It was the ice in the veins and the stone cold killer assassin in him that could put the team on his back. And in those moments where, you know, the clock is down, all the odds are stacked against him, he wanted the ball in his hands, and it was get the ball to Kobe. And it was every opposing coach's nightmare. Make sure Kobe doesn't get the ball. Keep it out of his hands. Don't let it get in his hands. Because as soon as it went in his hands and he had that look and he had the clear shot, he was taking it and he was sinking it. And there was no way against it. Yeah, there's a lot of 3-pointers I can think of in my mind, and a lot of assists that I loved seeing. Assist to Robert Horry for him to have the game winner in that finals, in that playoff game. Blanking on which year it was, but you know, there's just so many. And please, guys, sound off in the comments on any of your favorite Kobe moments, and we will happily run through those. For me, whenever I watched Kobe, and I was lucky enough to get to go to quite a few Laker games, I remember very, very vaguely, and I'm going to have to do some research on this one game, but the first game I remember going to was at the Great Western Forum, and I vividly remember it was the first game that Rodman was on the team. So It was a long time ago. I think I was probably about maybe 7. I was little, but I remember very specifically, we had great seats. We were lower level. And I remember my dad got interviewed by someone because it was a spectacle to have Rodman on the court. And I remember the interviewer asking my dad, because my dad's British, so he has a very distinct British accent. Oh, are you just here visiting? My dad's like, no, I've lived here for 10 years. So moments like that I remember with my family at Lakers games. I posted a picture yesterday of another Laker game I went to with my family. And it was really special because we hadn't always gotten to go all together as a group. My brother travels a lot for his sport. He plays for the men's national team. And so my whole life growing up, it's always been difficult for us to all be in the same place at the same time. But this one game, 2012, it was on my dad's birthday. We got gifted some box seat tickets, and the four of us got to go. And it was really wonderful to get to not only, enjoy the game together, but I learned all about sports from my dad growing up, and getting to go and see the team that we both love. We obviously both have a huge passion for Kobe. I can't even speak on how big of a fan my brother is of Kobe, because it goes really far deep, as he grew up playing basketball his whole life. But it's always been, I almost every time I watched a game well up whenever we're watching, the national anthem and you see the players line up. I just looked at Kobe every time and just being like, I cannot wait to see what you're going to do in this game. Just the excitement for me, just going every game. And, anytime he even took a free throw, I was just excited to be in the room and getting to see that. Like, it was the little things, and just seeing his tenacity, his drive and all that. So,
every time he stepped on the court, you knew you were getting the best of Kobe Bryant.
Absolutely. He always left it all on the floor, and you never had a game where, he kind of gave you half of it. I feel like a lot of these games, in this day and age of the NBA, you see some players that are kind of phoning it home, and they're not giving their all the time. But you never got that with Kobe. It was always 110% or more that he was giving you.
Kobe never cheated you.
No.
Never cheated. And never cheated a fan, never cheated another player, never cheated his teammates. You knew the Mamba was going to come out. And I just love someone that has that competitive edge. And not only has the competitive edge, but whenever they're trying to accomplish something in their life, they put everything that they have into. I can't preach on that enough.
No.
Because if you want to be great at something, you got to put the work in. And Kobe Bryant is living proof of that. Like, talk about Michael Jordan's work ethic, LeBron James. I know we're staying just in the sport of basketball, but these guys, despite all of their physical gifts, I mean, probably at the best, like at one given moment or another, they were considered the best athlete on the planet of Earth. And yet these guys were the hardest working guys in the room. So that Mamba mentality, where you not only are you great at what you do and you have the gifts, but you take advantage of them by being the hardest working guy in the room. Like that says something about a competitive edge that, like you said, I think is missing in today's game of basketball, but even, across sports. I mean, it seems like everything has kind of gotten a little bit more friendlier, with this generation. And you certainly don't want to go out there and, physically hurt other guys and affect their livelihood or anything like that. It's not like the gladiator sports that were in the past, but, it shouldn't go cotton soft. And Kobe made sure of that during his NBA career. Absolutely.
And thanks guys for chiming in. We've got Ryan Farley Gardner jumping in. He says the Lamborghini jump. You remember
That's
this?
An interesting one. That
was a good one. I mean, didn't everyone think that was doctored video? But it was.
Oh no, it looked pretty legit.
It looked so legit. Some people are like, that's fake. I'm like, no.
Kobe could jump over a Lamborghini.
Well, I mean, he's had a few of those types of cars, so I'm sure that he's practiced this at home. Like, this isn't a difficult thing for him to jump that far. I mean,
I guarantee it was some jabroni friend of his too that was like, man, I bet you can't jump over a Lamborghini. And he's like, bet you think
don't tell Kobe he can't do something. I know. And he's like, I'm doing it. Absolutely. So one of his friends probably was like, you can't. And as soon as you put the words you can't and then hand those to Kobe, you're going to prove me wrong every day.
That's an immediate trigger in someone like that's mind.
Absolutely. Nick Berg chiming in. I've been shooting everything I have into trash cans, yelling Kobe every single time. He inspired multiple generations. I mean, absolutely he did. I mean, I have a coworker that every single day when he does and he throws something in the trash every time, even before this past week, Kobe. And if he misses it, he's like, ah, I'm like, you just dishonored Kobe.
You disgrace the man
You disgrace the man, the myth, the legend. How dare you?
by
How dare you?
missing a trash can throw out. So
No, for sure. I think also speaking to his tenacity, there's been so many really great interviews this week. And I believe it was one with him and Dwayne Wade. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, because I'm sure other people have been watching all week too. But he was filming a commercial against maybe it wasn't D Wade. It was another player. And he was filming a commercial and they're supposed to be playing one-on-one. And so in the commercial, you're supposed to be acting. So the other guy was just, acting, soft dribbling, but Kobe kept poking the ball out from him. So it doesn't matter if that they were filming a commercial. He said by the end of the shoot, I think it was Paul Pierce. Sorry, it was Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
By the end of the commercial, he said he was drenched in sweat because Kobe wouldn't let him fake playing basketball. And he said that if you asked him today what the score was, he would tell you that he won. Because there wasn't a way that Kobe was, one, going to lose a one-on-one match, but two, allow this guy to, half play the game that they both love so much.
Right.
So just speaking on, this is supposed to be a commercial.
Can't disrespect the game in front of Kobe Bryant. He won't not allow that shit in his house.
Absolutely
or in his presence. I thought another one was good was Tracy McGrady.
Mm-hmm.
Him and McGrady once upon a time were having a conversation reminiscing about when they both essentially came into the NBA together straight out of high school.
Yeah.
And
McGrady was what, a year or two behind Kobe?
1 year behind him.
1 year behind him, yeah.
They spent a lot of time together. They were both 18-year-old kids, essentially 18, 19-year-old kids entering into the NBA. And Kobe and Tracy were hanging out during the offseason, and Tracy McGrady was about to go work out. And Kobe goes, dude, what are you doing? It's the off season. You don't got to work out now. And T-Mac is like, what, really? Like, what? And he's like, nah, I don't know. He was all confused.
Yeah.
And so T-Mac goes back to his room, thinks about it a little bit, then, decides, all right, well, I'm still going to go to the gym regardless. And who's in the gym? It's Kobe, because he's trying to gain a mental edge, saying, all right, well, I'm going to make sure that my biggest competition is not going to be trying to get better every single day while I'm trying to get better.
Oh, yeah.
Just like those little mental games that psycho competitors try to play with their opponents to just gain any sort of edge. And Kobe's even doing it in the off season when it comes to working out. It's
his competitive drive just in the gym. The one with I'm pretty sure it was with Dwayne Wade. He was training and Wade walks into the gym. Obviously, Kobe's already there with his trainer, and they're, just getting a workout in. By the end of the workout, the trainer has them pitted against each other, trying to hold plank and see who can hold it the longest. He says he doesn't remember how long he was able to hold it. He's pretty sure he lost, but, everything down to just the work in the gym, giving it all, just, everything was a competition. The competitive edge, he never lost that. Couldn't stop. Couldn't turn it off. Right. Victor J is saying R.I.P. Black Mamba. Nick Diaz, R.I.P. Kobe, mirrored his game from the GOAT Jordan, but became a man all his own. I always shouted out Jordan with the last shot, but just said Kobe for the first time. Respect to Kobe. Yeah, they were both cut from that different cloth. Jordan and Kobe trying to mirror again his career after Jordan, wanting to be one of the greats. Just having that competitive edge and that drive, we can't emphasize that enough. The drive and that mentality that Kobe had, very, very similar to Jordan. No one's going to outwork me on the court or off the court. No one is going to put in more work than me. Because if I tell you I'm going to be the greatest, it's because I'm going to be putting in the work to prove that I'm going to be the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally, how many different examples can you name? And I didn't know Kobe personally, but it feels like we grew up with Kobe. I mean, we saw this young man come into the league. We saw him blossom into a superstar in front of our eyes. Have incredible amounts of success as far as team accomplishments, as far as winning three straight championship rings. I think it was before the age of 25. I mean, this kid was dominant on the highest level. I mean, granted, he had Shaq to go along with him, but they don't win those rings without Kobe. I mean, make no mistake. I mean, Shaq was the most dominant force in the NBA at that time, but they don't win those rings without Kobe.
No.
Because Kobe was equally great and dominant at his own position, and made that duo one of the most unstoppable ones in NBA history. You can even make the case that they're the most unstoppable duo, the best duo in league history. But then you saw Kobe without Shaq and have those years where he was just, you knew he was clearly the best player in the NBA, but he wasn't having that team success anymore because he didn't have the team around him. So he had to learn how to win as the leading and driving force without another superstar. And then you saw him go back and win another 2 rings, one against Boston, the other against Orlando. And then he scored 81 points in a game. He scored 60 points at the age of 37 in his final NBA game.
Yeah.
Who does that?
No, I know. And they re-aired that game this week. And I vividly remember watching that game, live as you do on TV. And I remember being by myself. And as the game was happening, I remember being like, this is going to be really tough watching this final game. And I remember the fourth quarter very vividly, 4 years ago, watching that. And then every time he sunk one of those final threes, just to put his score up, I mean, he got to 50 and we're all like, okay, he's done, right? He's not going to, and then he just couldn't miss a basket after that. And then, of course, finishing it off with free throws. I was bawling 4 years ago, and this week I was bawling again, just watching just the ice in those veins, just getting that basket, getting those buckets, and just drilling them. It was really amazing to see, and yeah.
I don't know if the point was to even get to 60 points. I think the point was to try to win the damn game.
Yeah.
He's going out a winner. With what, like a 17 win Laker team? I mean, you just can't turn it off in a guy like that. And I'm certainly gonna miss Kobe, but I'm going to take what I've learned from Kobe and how he approached his NBA career. But not only that, his second career, the man won an Oscar. The man won an Oscar. I mean, how many great actors, actresses can you think of that have been putting their life's work into trying to be recognized for what they do in front of a camera or behind the camera, and they've never won an Oscar? Yet Kobe Bryant, like within 2 or 3 years, wins a damn Oscar. I mean, it just proves to you that whenever that man did anything, he put his heart and soul into it. Yeah. And he expected nothing less than excellence from himself. So, I mean, if you can't take that away from, watching Kobe Bryant over the years, then, I mean, obviously Kobe had a different impact on your life than he's had on mine. Yeah,
absolutely. And watching the game last night with the Lakers taking the court, after the Tuesday game was postponed with the Clippers finally getting back, to the court, trying to get back to some level of normalcy, without Kobe being there. You got to hear Kobe's words and him say, I'm going to paraphrase, but basically, basketball was his box, and he was going to make it as beautiful as he could with what he was given in his realm. Right. Now, maybe basketball's not your box, but whatever yours is, make what you do beautiful. Put your all into it, do absolutely everything you can, and you will be satisfied that you've given everything you can to what you love.
Own it.
Own it. So in that spirit, we'll be owning our own boxes as we go forward in life and having that Mamba mentality and that drive. So Nick Diaz also chiming in. Kevin Garnett was his dude back then. Kobe was obsessed with game and competition, but the game better for the NBA. Yeah. He always made everything better. He always raised the level of play of those around him. And hopefully by us, having that Mamba mentality as we go forward and try and do the best we can in our, area, in our realms, we can raise the level of play for others and those around us, and we'll all just be better. So
absolutely.
Thanks again, guys, for chiming in. If you guys want to throw more in there, please go ahead and do as we go through a couple little bits of news and then jump into some Super Bowl talk and some prop bets. So please go ahead and keep going off in the comments. If you have any questions about prop bets or Super Bowl, please sound off. We will get to those. And let's get to the rest of it. So, Shake that one off. It was a little bit emotional one for me, but
Yeah,
I think we're ready to go with some little bits of news that have rolled in this week. We'll start off with Greg Olsen mutually parting ways with the Carolina Panthers. We were talking a little bit before we went live. I think we both had the same feeling when we saw this news. He's probably retiring, right?
I mean, it would make sense to me unless he's going to go somewhere unless his plan is to be like a veteran presence or there is a gaping hole at tight end for a team that has a chance to win a Super Bowl. I don't why. I mean, Greg Olsen actually, I believe, has a future in broadcasting. I think that he could be a much improved version of Jason Witten. He's the guy they should have hired instead of Jason Witten at the Monday Night Football booth. No disrespect to Jason Witten, but
no disrespect, of course.
No disrespect. I'm only, killing the poor guy. But but when it comes to Greg Olsen, I think that there's a reason why they decided to mutually part ways, because eventually Greg Olsen will probably end up retiring. I mean, he was already considering hanging it up, like 2 off seasons ago. I mean, now he's not with the team that he gave some of his, if not all of the best years of his NFL career. I just don't see him going anywhere else to play.
No, I don't either. And it's tough to see someone that takes that kind of longevity of a career with a team and then try and go somewhere else at his age with his history of injuries. You just don't really see that making much sense for him at this time. So I agree with you. I kind of hope he goes into broadcasting. He's such a fun guy, such a fun presence, and it would be great to hear him on the other side of the camera.
I will say this, though, for dynasty purposes, now that Greg Olsen is no longer with the Panthers, there's a guy named Ian Thomas that has had a couple shining moments when given opportunities over the last 2 seasons when Greg Olsen has missed time with injuries. If you're playing dynasty fantasy football, I would actually go and try to target Ian Thomas. Specifically in tight end premium leagues. Thomas seems definitely like a man that has a world of potential. I mean, the guy is built like a damn offensive lineman, like a tackle or something in that nature, but is incredibly athletic, has some problems with drops here and there, but the sky's the limit with Ian Thomas as far as his potential goes. So I would definitely try to go ahead and target Ian Thomas if you guys are playing in any dynasty leagues right now.
Yeah, I think that's a great name to note going into next season. And, as 2020 rolls on, we're going to have to keep taking notes of these players as news like this unfolds across the NFL. So it's important to take note. Another one to talk about is Tom Brady going ahead and being uber cryptic, posting a picture.
That goat bastard.
Where it's black and white. It's very moody. He is either walking away or towards a football field. There's water on the ground. Couldn't be a more moody looking image. It's on his Twitter. It's on his Instagram if you haven't seen it yet. Is he walking away from the field? Is he walking towards the field? Is he walking away from the Patriots towards another team? Or is he walking away from football and towards retirement? We are left to speculate. Thanks, Tom. Really appreciate that.
Dude, what? Why?
Look,
for the first time in 4 years, the damn New England Patriots are not in the Super Bowl. We don't have to talk about the Patriots, right?
No.
Leading up to the Super Bowl, and then Tom Brady decides to go ahead and steal the spotlight just for a moment or two. During Super Bowl week, like less than 5 days away from the Super Bowl, he posts a cryptic bullshit, no caption, black and white image of a silhouette of a man who is not even confirmed to be Tom Brady, either walking onto or walking off the football field. Look, man, I mean, you've been to 9 Super Bowls. You've won 6. You've got 4 Super Bowl MVPs. You've got 3 league MVPs. Could you not just wait a week to go ahead and post this so we don't have to make Super Bowl week about you, dude? I mean, look, Tom Brady's the best I've ever seen. He's the best of all time. I'm not saying anything derogatory about the man except that he's great.
Sure. But he's
that was a bullshit move, Tommy.
Not cool. No. And then, all we're doing all week is just wondering what this means. What does it all mean?
If you had to guess, what does it mean?
Retirement for me is what I think.
I think he's going to play for another team. I think I think that there's some strife between the New England Patriots, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick. Like, it seems like those two who have had a synonymous relationship for about 2 decades.
Yeah.
I still think it bothers Bill Belichick that he had Tom Brady's successor ready.
Sure.
And it probably chaps his ass that Jimmy Garoppolo is playing on Super Bowl Sunday instead of the New England Patriots. And, they're with Tom Brady because he went over Bill Belichick's head to Bob Kraft. So I'm thinking that this is where, with a wild card exit, and Brady was not Brady this past year. Look, you can go ahead and try to dissect it with a surgical pen and say, well, he didn't have enough help. His offensive line wasn't very good. He didn't have a great running game. The dude had the number 1 defense in the NFL this past year. Is that not enough help on the other side of the football?
No.
I don't want to hear excuses. I mean, the man is the greatest of all time, but he did not have a great year. I can be critical of even the best. And that's what I saw from Tom Brady. He wasn't himself this year. So I think the Patriots are going to try to go in a different direction and try to move on from Brady. And I think Brady's got to play with a chip on his shoulder like he has his entire NFL career and try to go win somewhere else.
Now, I've heard a lot of different speculation of different teams that kind of are appealing to Brady. I think the one that I've heard that I think to me makes the most sense, because at the point in his career that he's at, he can pick where he wants to go. He can pick, and he has all that for him. But I also think he's towards the end of his career and he knows that. So I don't think I see him moving somewhere where he's going to uproot his family and move somewhere that doesn't make sense for them as a whole. Now, a place that makes a lot of sense is the Los Angeles area, as he already has a home here and spends a lot of off-season time here. So what makes the most sense for me, and the ones that I've heard, is the Chargers.
Well, the Chargers is certainly one that is, how would I put it? They've got a loaded roster. And this was a team 2 years ago that went 12-4. I mean, they were nipping at the heels of Patrick Mahomes, who threw 50 touchdown passes that year. So it certainly would make sense if Brady was going to consider them, because you got Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, and then, Keenan Allen, and Hunter Henry is a nice tight end option.
Sure.
Mike Williams. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Mike Williams.
If anyone can open up that field with someone like Mike Williams, would be Brady.
Right. I mean, so as far as on paper, and not to mention the defensive side of the football, you got Joey Bosa, Derwin James, and a litany of other talented defensive players. I mean, Melvin Ingram, of course, comes to mind too. But they do have a roster that seems, at least is on paper, as a Super Bowl contender. And they just let go of Phillip Rivers. So it makes sense that the Chargers don't really have a contingency plan or a quarterback waiting in the wings ready to go right now. Brady with a Super Bowl ready roster seems like that would be a decent option.
Not only that, but a market that is primed and ready and open for a star. Now, SoFi Stadium will be done shortly, and the Rams are going to be, headlining it. The Rams season tickets have been flying off because, they're trying to, obviously, they're the most exciting team for this new stadium.
Right.
Chargers have had difficulty selling tickets. Selling season tickets? No. Selling tickets, they've had difficulty selling tickets. This past year, I went to the Steelers-Chargers game, and it was a Steelers home game. And no doubt. So how else can you bring your fan base back but by bringing someone like Tom Brady into a brand new stadium, into LA? I mean, I see it on the buses here all the time. Fight for LA. I don't really think it looks like much of a fight, but if you bring up Tom Brady onto your team, it's looking like a fight for LA.
Yeah, I'm still going to go ahead and say that if the Steelers have a game there, that the Steelers fans, and namely like maybe the Packers fans, are going to travel well, regardless of wherever the game is.
No, I don't think
I mean, it's interesting. I want to go ahead and bring up Victor, which, by the way, he did mention that he's still not mad that Kobe dropped 81 against his Raptors, and I don't blame you, man. Yeah. I'm not. I mean, you can't be mad about that.
I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. That's amazing.
Yeah. How can you not be? But I mean, Brady also. I mean, you start then trying to go through the teams that are one piece away, and namely that quarterback veteran presence, which I mean, yeah, Matt Nagy's system, Victor, they kept and retained Matt Nagy as the head coach, which he likes to do a lot of those RPO options, which Brady ain't running RPOs at the age of 42.
No.
But I will say, Brady proved it this year, even though he wasn't really himself. He had a number one defense on the other side. And the one thing you could say about the Chicago Bears, they still have a Super Bowl ready defense right now. So would Matt Nagy have to change his offensive philosophy if Brady were the guy under center? Yes, he would. But are you willing to change your offensive philosophy for a guy that has 6 Super Bowl rings? Hell yeah, you better be able to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just a dipshit of a coach.
Yeah. If that would be almost like someone having a talented player like, example, Odell Beckham and not passing him the ball. Who would do that?
No one speaks ill of Freddie Kitchens. Come on. I mean, yeah. R.I.P. Freddie Kitchens as the head coach in the NFL.
R.I.P.
It was fun while it lasted.
But guys, sound off on other teams you think would be a good fit for Brady, or if you agree and think that, if he would be a great fit in Chicago or a great fit for the Chargers, or if you think that this speculation is a moot point and he is retiring. So go ahead and sound off.
Sam thinks he's going into retirement.
I think he's going to retirement.
There's no shot in hell he retires. It doesn't feel like he's retiring.
I don't know. I feel like he's at that age.
You want to bet? Speaking of bets,
we're about to talk prop bets for Super Bowl. You know what? Yeah, let's make a bet. I'm going to bet that he's going to announce at some point in February that he's retiring.
Okay. I'll bet you. I need a new Bucks hat.
Okay, we'll bet you want to bet hats.
You get me we'll bet a hat. I'll get you a Steelers hat if he retires somewhere in February. You get me a Bucks hat if your boy Brady doesn't retire. I'll give you February and March. That's how confident I am.
All right. Well, perfect. I was just looking. I'm like, wait, is today still January? Because if he were to retire today, then it would be a push. But yeah, no. All right.
You would still win. I would still give it to you.
All right. So February and March, Brady's going to announce his retirement, and the bet is hats. So that's good. I mean, I do have I have 4 Steelers hats, but I'm always happy to get more.
I mean, if there's something else you would like to go ahead and
there's so many. I'm laughing because I'm in Slack with the guys in my fantasy football league, and we were talking.
Slack's an underrated app, by the way. A little chat app.
It's a little bit much for me because there's a channel for literally every topic in our group of friends. Yeah. And so we were in the basketball channel. We were obviously talking Kobe all week, and the guys were saying, how much they regret not having purchased a jersey of his sooner, and now you can't get them anywhere. But my chime in was the only jersey I'm missing of Kobe's is the white 24. I have 3 24s, as I'm going to stand up so people that are watching can see. I've got the away purple Kobe 24.
Ooh, okay.
I've got the home yellow one. I've got the black Hollywood Knights 24, and I even have a number 8 that is a yellow jersey. But that is a very old one, as it originally was my brother's when he was a child. But thankfully, I haven't grown much, so it still fits me as a cute little tank top.
The last NBA basketball jersey I bought was actually a Michael Jordan Wizards jersey.
No, God. I was going to say but I just held it back.
Diehard Michael fan, diehard MJ fan. But they're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
So, oh God, now I'm.
But yeah, speaking of sports memorabilia, I have a Jordan Bulls 23. I've got 3. I've got 3 Steelers jerseys. I have 4 or 5 Steelers hats. I've got a Lakers hat. I've got a Rams hat too for when I go and visit their training camps in the summer, because you got to rep when you go and visit the camp. And I think I've got some JJ Watt stuff too. I've got a lot of sports stuff. I think I have more sports memorabilia than I have pairs of shoes, which means a lot for a girl.
Yes, it does actually. Well played. I'll cheers for that, even though I'm like 67 drinks behind on the drinking word Kobe this morning.
Kobe, drink.
Anyway, so let's go ahead. start getting into some Super Bowl prop
let's
bets.
start to get hyped about this game. Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's get hyped about this Super Bowl game we got tomorrow. I think it's going to be an amazing game of the Niners against the Chiefs. And let's just roll into some prop bets, because I've talked a little bit on Twitter this week about favorite things everyone has for bets. Everyone loves the squares. Everyone loves the prop bets. I personally love the squares because I feel like it's a nice even playing field for people. But let's go ahead and just talk quick prop bets.
I think a great competition at a Super Bowl party now, though. Hold on, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, it's fine.
But I know I'm rude. I interrupt from time to time, but I have a good idea, and I don't want to. Before we start diving,
yeah, if you have a good idea, Derek, I don't want you to not share it.
Thank you. So go ahead, find a player props sheet of paper, or just pick certain ones that you like. Type it out onto a Word document on your computer. Print it out. And then print out a bunch of them for however many people are coming to your Super Bowl party. Hand them out and just have everybody pick them. And whoever gets the most right at the end of the game, make it like $5 per sheet for all these prop bets.
I think that's nice and easy too. I think what's important when you're doing, a fun Super Bowl party and getting the crowd involved is those people that were dragged to the party that have no interest in the game. Oh, I don't know anything about football. Cool. You have these two names. Pick one.
Or no, you have over under. Like,
over under, yeah.
You're going to go over under this. And they don't know what the hell they're picking sometimes for folks that don't follow the game of football. But it's just a guessing game. So you might as well just have them fill it out. It's just as easy as squares.
Absolutely. So much fun. And it keeps people involved as you're watching the game. So you're not just watching for the commercials, which I always get really annoyed by, because the Super Bowl commercials have gotten so out of whack lately, and they play them all the week leading up to it anyways. So what's the point?
What is the point of that, by the way? Like, CNN decided to go ahead and post like every Super Bowl ad as far as like, hey, this is newsworthy. Dude, I don't even want to watch these damn things. Why am I going to put that on my sports broadcast? Hey, by the way, the Super Bowl commercials, which is always fun to kind of organically watch while you're watching the game at your Super Bowl party. Why would I want to go ahead and spoil that shit?
No, it doesn't make any sense either for the companies that are paying $5 million a spot. What,
5 million? That's probably an underestimate. I mean, depending on how long the ad is.
Dollars per spot for these ads, and then people are just like throwing them off like really willy-nilly before. I mean, you could argue that it gets more views. Yeah, I said willy-nilly, but I mean, you could say that they're getting more, more bang for their buck, but they're not. I think it's kind of. You could make a draft comparison. You're saying you're drafting something super high, and then, they don't do anything first 3 weeks. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Makes no sense. But let's get back to the prop bet. Let's go really quick. All right, sorry, we keep getting distracted. But it wouldn't be the fantasy debate with Sam and Tate if we didn't get distracted and go off the rails at least 10 times an episode. So
that is correct.
Yes. So let's just jump right into it. And let's talk about the prop bet for Patrick Mahomes and passing yards. The over-under on this one is 305.5 yards for the over and under 305 yards.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask you, do you think the Chiefs are going to score points in this game?
Yes, I think the Chiefs are going to score points in this game.
Do you think the Chiefs are going to be able to run the football against the 49ers?
I think that they might, but I think that they're going to be passing more.
So I'm going over with Patrick Mahomes is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm going over with Patrick Mahomes as well. There's no way he's throwing less than even 300 yards on this. I think that we should make a separate one as we're going of our prop bets. I think we're both going to end up.
Hell yeah, we're competing against each other right now. I mean, I want to kick your ass. I mean, Mamba mentality. Let's go.
Mamba mentality, always win. Yes. Okay. So prop bet for Patrick Mahomes, but we're both taking the over.
Both over. I mean, we're going to agree on some of these, Sam. I can't fabricate answers or fabricate.
You can't fabricate? That's good to know. All right. Now on the opposing side of the ball, Jimmy Garoppolo's passing yards. Over 239 yards or under 239 yards?
I'm going under. I'm going under for Jimmy G. I know that the San Francisco 49ers are going to have to try to compete and keep up with the San Francisco 49ers or the Kansas City Chiefs offense. But Jimmy G, we've seen what he's posted so far this postseason. And the formula for the 49ers to win this football game is to run the ball, play defense, and force Patrick Mahomes to try to make mistakes. So I don't see Jimmy G lighting up this secondary. By the way, this Kansas City secondary is very underrated, by the way. So I think it's a tough matchup for Jimmy G regardless. So for that reason, yeah, I'm going under.
Yeah. Victor J is jumping in. I'm calling KC goes down 17-3 in the first half to then pull back in typical KC fashion in the second and win 34-24.
Yo, Victor, my prediction for the score of this game is 30-24 Chiefs. So you and I, like, yeah, I mean, we're 4 points off. Like, we're right there together, my man.
Loving it. Absolutely love it. Guys, keep posting in the comments anything that you want to talk about Super Bowl related.
By the way, why don't y'all that are joining right now, why don't you go ahead wherever we're doing these prop bets, go ahead and give your prediction as well. Like your over-under. Who are you taking on some of these prop bets? Let us know.
Yes, please do. All right, keeping on the quarterback train. Let's go touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes passing touchdowns over 2.5 TDs, under 2.5 TDs.
Again, I do not think the San Francisco 49ers are going to give up many rushing yards, much less rushing touchdowns on the ground. I think Patty Mahomes at least gets 3 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you as well and go on the over. We're both saying over 2.5 TDs passing for Patty Mahomes. I mean,
quit agreeing with me.
I know. I was just going to say, it's really difficult because
you call the fancy debate, and you're asking me first. You're supposed to go in the opposite direction on some of these.
All right, well then maybe we'll just
I'm joking. Let's go.
Yeah, whatever. Let's go with the opposite then for Jimmy Garoppolo. Passing touchdowns. The over is 1.5 touchdowns. The under is 1.5 touchdowns.
See, it's going to be tricky right here. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go with 2. I think he's going to get 2 strictly because a lot of play action. I don't think he's going to get a ton of yards through the air. But when you get down on in the red zone, inside the 10, goal-to-go situations, who's better at dialing up pass or play action passes than your boy Kyle Shanahan? So for that reason, I do think that they get down there, and when they're able to punch it in, your boy Jimmy G is able to find whether it be George Kittle or Kendrick Bourne Identity. Who knows? But I think he gets 2.
I wanted to go over as well, but you know what? I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under 1.5 yards, and I'm going to say that George Kittle is just going to run it in every time for these touchdowns.
Kittle's been bit from fullback.
But he's a beast. He's a beast. So he could do it, and they could run him in. And Raheem Mostert, that last game, he absolutely dominated.
I think
the rushing category as a whole, just destroyed all bets are off.
Over 200 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. I mean, yeah, it's just he abused that Packer defense.
Absolutely. So you're taking the over on 1.5 passing touchdowns for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, Jimmy.
I am taking
show up. Jimmy can show up.
And I'm taking the under 1.5 passing touchdowns because I'm banking on quite a few rushing touchdowns.
Now, I mean, the reason why I'm saying he's not going to go over on passing yardage is because, look, I mean, once upon a time, this guy took out, a porn star and was caught doing so. And you think South Beach is a very good environment for a man known for those type of late night activities? No, I'm kidding. I'm completely kidding on that one. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now let's just jump down to real quick to interceptions because I want to just talk about Jimmy Garoppolo's interceptions. And actually let's talk about Mahomes as well. So because San Francisco's defense is what they have been this past season, the prop bet for Mahomes' total interceptions thrown is over half and under 0.5. So the odds are looking low on his interceptions. What do you think? Is it going to be?
I think he throws 1 interception. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers defense gets 1 from him. That's the only thing I'm going to go ahead and give them is they'll get 1. But outside of that, I mean, can you name one game where Patrick Mahomes over the last 2 seasons played a bad football game? Like where he was like a shit player, where he was like just bad. I can't think of it. So I don't see Mahomes playing poorly in this game, but I do see him taking chances like he always does. And I do think this Niners defense is good enough to get 1 off of him.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm also going to go for the over as well on that one. Same question for Jimmy Garoppolo, over under half interceptions. 0.5 point.
Over half of an interception?
It's over half of an interception.
Oh, I think he throws 1 too.
Yeah, I agree. I think he throws 1 as well. There's no way these quarterbacks throw perfect games in this one.
Better secondary than people like to give it credit for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I do think that one off. And Jimmy G, even how much he's thrown the ball over the last 2 games, he still threw an interception against the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, man does throw you 1 or 2 once a game. So I still think that, 1 is a safe bet. I would actually I'd take that to the bank.
Yeah. All right. So I just want to do 2 more quarterback ones and we'll move on to the rest of the players. But I see you throwing comments.
You gotta let us know here also, man. Like when we're sitting here talking about these and picking these over-unders and stuff like that, go ahead and sound off in the comments. Let us know what your picks are, man. Him and I got into it one time. I mean, I don't want to go into too much, but about Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers and who's the better quarterback. I sided with Brady. He sided with Aaron Rodgers. It was actually a compelling argument while we were, having lunch. It was great. Continue.
I love it. Okay. So last 2 quarterback bets. Let's go. Who will throw the most touchdown passes in this game? It's Patrick Mahomes with -5 or Jimmy Garoppolo with +5. Sorry, that's 0.5 on both.
I mean, if I'm picking who's going to throw more touchdown passes, for me, it has to be Patrick Mahomes. I mean, no offense to Jimmy G, and I know Victor just mentioned right here that Jimmy G is going to get himself 3 TDs, and that may be the case. But here's the thing: Mahomes will just keep firing away, regardless. And normally, I would go ahead and give a little bit of a slight nod to, hey, maybe they're able to get some sort of semblance of a running game going.
Yeah.
But have you not seen what the 49ers defense has done to running backs this postseason? I mean, they essentially they absolutely clamped down on Dalvin Cook. I mean, Dalvin Cook just was I think he was the driving force behind why they upset the Saints on the road. And then they did a damn good job against Aaron Jones. So, I mean, for that reason, I don't see Damian Williams having a very big game. If they're going to win, it's going to be because of Mahomes. And for me, that's why I'm going with Mahomes, more touchdowns than Jimmy G.
I agree. I feel like it's definitely going to be Mahomes with more touchdown passes than Jimmy Garoppolo. He's just been deadly this playoff season and proven to come from behind and air it out and just clean house with just his arm and just being able to get the ball into the right player's hands. And he's got so many weapons at his disposal in order to get that to happen. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins showing up. I mean, and then he's also taking the bench receivers and just Mecole Hardman, just like throwing the ball to anybody that can catch, and all of them are going to catch. So I feel like it's going to be a really high passing touchdown game for Mahomes.
He has 2 receivers that run sub 4.3s. And then he has another one in Sammy Watkins, who was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. I mean, and you throw, by the way, sprinkle in that he has Travis Kelce, one of the best, if not the best tight end in the NFL. So, I mean, an embarrassment of riches. Yeah,
absolutely. An embarrassment of riches. Let's go, because we're both agreeing on that one. Let's just go to one more. Who will have, I think we know, I'm not going to do that one.
Okay, we all know exactly what you're talking about, but continue. It's fine. While you're gathering your thoughts, I'm going to go ahead and Victor said Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, or Wayne's World, top 3. I'm going to go ahead just real quick. I'm going Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, and then Wayne's World as my number 3, just to chronologically order them for myself.
Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, it's got to be Dumb and Dumber for me as well. Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, and Wayne's World in those top 3 as well. This is why we're friends. Right. This is why we're friends, because we agree on things. But also, we disagree.
Terrible debate, by the way. But continue. Yeah. Let's move on.
Moving on, I just want to run right into the receiver prop bets, and I just want to, and because we talked a little bit about him earlier, let's go straight to George Kittle and receiving yards. Okay. Is it the over under for him? Over 70 receiving yards, under 70 receiving yards.
So I'm going to go under on receiving yardage because. Really? Again, I'm trying to be consistent with when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo not throwing for a ton of yards in this game.
Sure.
Now Kittle is going to get his, but I think he's going to be more of a safety blanket. Will he pop a big play or two? Absolutely. But for me, when you've got Frank Clark and some of the other pass rushing options that the Kansas City Chiefs actually possess to be able to get after Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not saying that they're going to keep Kittle in to block all the time. I mean, he's too valuable of a pass catching option, but I do think that from time to time he's going to have to chip, which prevents him from getting down the football field. So for that reason, I will go ahead and say that Kittle is under on that yardage total.
I'm going to agree with you there. I mean, like I said earlier, I feel like Kittle is a different beast that they can use in different ways, and there's going to be a lot of rushing in this game. So I'm going to stick with him having under 70 receiving yards as well. So I'm going to agree with you on that one. Let's go to the other tight end, Travis Kelce, opposing receiving yards, over 77.5 yards, under 77.5 yards.
For the same reason I just mentioned that I think George Kittle will go under and is more of a safety valve in this game, I'm going to go under with Travis Kelce. I mean, we talked about some of the Chiefs pass rushing options. Amplify that times 5 for the San Francisco 49ers when it comes to that dominant defensive unit up front with Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, DeForest Buckner, Solomon Thomas, D Ford. They're like 6 deep up on the front unit. So I'm going to go under for Travis Kelce, even though I think he'll still catch some passes. I just don't know if he's going to be getting down the field all that often.
I'm going to take the over on that one. Just because I think the Chiefs pose such an interesting matchup for them in that they just have so many weapons. I feel like of people that are going to be able to get open, make plays in the ball, I feel like Kelce is going to be able to do that for them against this defense. So I'm going to go ahead and take the over on the 77.5 receiving yards for Kelce.
Okay. Nothing wrong with saying that Kelsey's going to catch 77 yards worth of passes.
No, so that's why I'm taking that one. So we're going to disagree.
Man's a beast, dude. Man's a beast.
Yes, so we're going to disagree on that one. So let's go over to the wide receivers and pick 2 guys that we've talked a lot about this season. One of your favorites, receiver Deebo Samuels. Okay. Over 54.5 yards or under 54.5 receiving
I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over on the yardage, strictly because I think if you're going to be able to do play action like I expect every single game of Kyle Shanahan has some element of play action and heavily involved in whatever the offensive game plan is. Deebo Samuel is a problem. And especially if you're able to get behind those linebackers, if they're able to run the ball effectively early on, which I expect them to be able to do, that Deebo is going to be able to get behind those linebackers and do some damage after the catch. Now, I don't know if his volume is going to be super high as far as pure receptions go, but as yardage goes, I'm going to go up, going over.
See, you speak about volume, and for me, that's why I'm going to take the under. I just don't see him having the volume to get to that number in this one. And I agree, Jimmy G, with the play action. He's going to be able to, have those quick passes in the game that's going to extend the play, but I just don't see that specifically for Deebo Samuel. I think he might be getting other players involved and just spreading the ball around a little bit more in this one. So I'm going to go with the under on him. And I just think it's going to be such a heavy rushing game anyways for the Niners that, I'm taking the under right there on Deebo Samuel.
Okay.
Other side of the ball, Tyreek Hill, receiving yards, over 79.5 yards, under 79.5 yards.
If there's a guy that I see having a huge game for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I already said I think Mahomes is going to throw for over 300 yards. Yep. So somebody's got to have some yardage. Somebody's got to put up some numbers, and I know that they have some other explosive options, but to me, it's Tyreek Hill. I mean, which of these San Francisco 49ers corners are going to be able to really contain? And I know they play a lot of cover 3 though, Sam. I mean, the 49ers, they can sit in cover 3 zones because they can rush 4 up front and still get to the quarterback in a lot of circumstances. And they will get to Patrick Mahomes sometimes. They will, because they're that talented up front. Mm-hmm. But if you're asking me if Emmanuel Mosley or even Richard Sherman Sherman, he's an incredible instinctive corner at this point in his career. Yeah. But the way that they move Tyreek Hill around the formation, if you're going to run cover 3 or any zone coverage against that guy who just blazes trails throughout the entire defense,
yeah,
he's going to be able to I'm either going to be wrong. I mean, I'm either going to be right or wrong regardless, but they're either going to give him a ton of attention and they're going to make these other track meet wide receivers for the Chiefs explode on the game, or Tyreek Hill is going to dice up a zone coverage all day long.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that Tyreek Hill is able to get open on enough occasions that he has himself over 100 yards receiving.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I'm definitely taking the over on Tyreek Hill's receiving yards as well, going over 79.5 yards. I just think of guys that can dice up that kind of coverage, it's going to be Tyreek Hill, and he is going to be able to, just shred. And like we both said, we both have Patrick Mahomes having over 300 passing yards. So someone's going to be gobbling those up. And I'm going to hedge bets and say that Tyreek Hill will be doing that. Milky J jumping in. Imagine if Brady had Debo this year instead of that bum Jacoby Myers.
I mean, he did have N'Keal Harry for the stretch run, and we saw the development of a rookie wide receiver under the guise of the wide receiver coach named Joe Judge, who, by the way, did such a great job that he got an NFL head coaching gig in New York.
But not to go off the rails on something.
Sorry, my bad. Let's go.
I'm just reining it in because I know how much you don't love that topic. But Victor J's Tater, show off.
I will, my friend. I will happily, Victor. Happily, Victor. This thing. I mean, this Viking horn is going to be all over the place for Tater's Super Bowl party.
My goodness, that's going to be intense. Victor,
what are you doing for your Super Bowl party? Just out of curiosity.
I'm going to the commissioner of our fantasy league's house for Super Bowl party. So he always has a Super Bowl party every year, and I'll be going and enjoying the game there.
I have the responsibility of hosting a Super Bowl party.
Woo! So. That's fun.
Whoopsie.
Victor J's also jumping in. How about Sammy Watkins contemplating retirement before he even plays the big show?
That is so weak. That is so bad. Like, I want to. My hair is a mess, but I'm throwing my hat to that bullshit. It's awful. Awful. I hate it, Victor. Why in the world is this a thing? Why are you contemplating retirement, Sammy Watkins? I mean, that's awful.
Yeah.
Why is that a conversation right now heading into the Super Bowl? Don't you have other things to be focusing about?
Yeah. It just makes no sense.
That's weak.
Yeah.
It's so weak.
It's weak sauce at its best. For sure.
Nothing against Sammy personally, just it's weak.
Nothing against him personally, but of course.
Of course, I say that as I'm like, slamming him. My apologies. What other options do we have here? What other
let's go over to running backs quickly before we wrap up and go into any other questions people have for Super Bowl and maybe a little bit more nonsense. But let's go on to the rushing and running back prop bets. We've got rushing props for Damian Williams and Raheem Mostert to talk about. So who's going to have total rushing yards? So we've got Damian Williams having over 51.5 rushing yards or under 51.5 rushing yards.
I'm going to go under. I mean, I've been banging the drum that the 49ers defensive unit up front is stout. And I know that on the back end, they're not going to be able to put 8 in the box to stop the running game because you have to deal with Patrick Mahomes and the track meet receivers that they have on the outside. So it could soften up the fronts a little bit, but ultimately I don't see the 49ers defensive unit getting pushed around by the Chiefs offensive line. No disrespect to the Chiefs offensive line, just 49ers defensive unit up front is that good. So I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you 100% for the exact same reasons. That Niners defense is absolutely just going to create a wall that they're not going to be able to get past, and I don't see Damian Williams having more than even 50 yards.
Total yards is different, though.
Yeah,
Total yards,
total
as
yards
well
between
as him
them.
catching passes out of the backfield, that's a different story.
That is. So we're talking rushing only for these.
Right.
So rushing yards, we're going to move over to the other side and go Raheem Mostert for total rushing yards. Over 69.5 or under 69.5?
I'm going to go under, strictly because I don't know the health yet of Tevin Coleman, but Matt Breida is a capable running back in his own right. And Shanahan has a tendency to go with a hot hand. So I know that Mostert had the monster week, and he can come out and be the most effective running back on the football field for the 49ers. But I thought the addition of Chris Jones last week helped the Chiefs defensive unit contain Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say they stopped him, but they contained him as the game progressed. And remember, the Titans got off to a 10-point lead twice.
Yep.
And nothing, and then 17-7.
Yep.
And yet, once the chips were on the table and it mattered most, the Chiefs were able to slow down Derrick Henry. And if they could slow down Derrick Henry, who was the best running back by a landslide in this postseason, they can slow down Raheem Mostert if they get a lead. And I do expect the 49ers, even though they're going to try to run the football early on, they're not going to have the same level of success as they did against the Green Bay Packers.
I get that. But, I mean, the Chiefs came out soft against the Texans. I'm going to go with there's going to be a quarter that the Chiefs don't have it together, and it's going to be in that quarter that you're going to see some big numbers from Raheem Mostert. So I'm going to take the over and just count on the fact that the Chiefs have had some off quarters in these past two games, and I'm going to count on those quarters being the ones that the Niners absolutely cram it down their throats on the running game. So I'm going to go with the over for Raheem Mostert with the 69.5 yards being that middle line. Now, of other players and other bets that you like for Super Bowl, speak on any of those. We talked a little bit about swears. We talked a little bit more about prop bets. I love the idea of printing out prop bets and handing out sheets for $1 for $5 a page during your Super Bowl game.
We really should do like a fantasy focus thing for.
Yeah, that'd be so much fun. I mean, we could totally send out a Google sheet and just have everyone pick them, and then Venmo.
Well, I think it's a great game. Again, you have a bunch of folks that get together, think they know football or do know football, but it doesn't really matter if they do or not, because you just get to have fun and you pick over, under on yardage, receptions, touchdowns, stuff of that nature. So
yes, absolutely.
Game.
So, okay, you're going to be hosting your Super Bowl party. Correct. What will you make sure you don't run out of during that game party?
Food
or beverage. You can pick either category.
It's got to be buffalo chicken dip.
Buffalo chicken dip.
The buff chick dip. Oh God! And then you throw the Tostitos scoops in there along with it. That's my jam. And I know my fiance is laughing at me right now because I don't know how to cook, but I'm going to figure out a way to have endless, bottomless amounts of buff chick dip available.
All right. Well, that's good and important to have. For me, it's got to be endless guacamole. Never stop. Guac? Yes, I love guac. I love it. And it just, I mean, it's the perfect thing with chips and salsa. You got to have that just on refill constantly. It's got to be bottomless chips and dip, because it's the quickest thing you can have as you're watching the game, just to be snacking away while you're drinking. And if you've got your spot on the couch and you don't want to leave it, it's going to be the most immediate thing to continue to feed you the whole game.
What's the GOAT of maybe this can be the final debate.
Sure.
What is the GOAT food of any football watching experience?
The GOAT food of any football watching.
For the rest of time, if you had to pick one food to be able to enjoy while watching football games, and I know I'm talking to somebody that competes in fitness competitions and stuff of that nature. So I understand we're not on the same wavelength when it comes to food we're eating on a daily basis.
Yeah. I mean.
And Victor, hell yes. Can we choose Hooters wings all day?
All day.
All you can eat Hooters wings. You're damn right you can.
Yes, you can absolutely choose the wingies for Hooters. Yeah, for me, it's difficult because, like you said, I mean, I don't eat typical food that everyone else does during the game, just because I'm always kind of on a diet or eating healthy of some kind. But
it's like, so if there's one thing that ever makes me go full fat bastard from Austin Powers, it's get in my belly. Like, oh, what I was gonna say? I eat because I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy because I eat. It's a vicious cycle. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm gonna kill you anyway. Sorry, I had to take a second to think about the quote. But point being, I get that we're on different wavelengths when it comes to our diets.
Yes.
So is it guacamole?
Yeah, for me, it's chips and dip. It's classic. And I feel like because it's chips, my brain puts it in a category of it's just such a snack. I can just continue to eat those all day. And then it goes into chips and dip being like of the nacho variety. Not just, the guac and the salsa, but just getting the good old just nacho straight cheese dip going on, or the queso, all of that. All of the dips, bean dips, all of the things, multitude of dips.
You ever seen the movie I'm an advocate. If Fantasy Focus ever opens a restaurant or a sports bar of their own, which we don't want to compete against Hooters, so respect. Maybe this is just a pipe dream of mine, but I would be an advocate of having nothing. It's just the entire menu is dips.
Yeah,
and then things that you can use to dip into the dips.
I love that, because then you've also got the spinach and artichoke dip with the bread, and then you've got
that's so
just
good.
When it's hot too, and you get the big bowl. It's just that's so good. It's all about the dips. So for me, I guess it's got to be dips. Then I'm gonna go with the dips, just because there's so many varieties of types of things, and all of them are good. All of them are good.
I'm going to go ahead and say it is wingy. Like whatever flavor of wings you want, whether it's flappies, drummies, boneless, whatever it is, I think it is the quintessential food to be able to enjoy during watching a football game is wingy. That's what I'm emotionally attached to. Maybe cheese fries with cheese and bacon. I'm a fat slob at heart. I don't know how I've not.
If those are listening to this later, just know that Derek is salivating from the mouth. It's becoming unseemly. It's becoming unseemly. Did you say just not salivating from your mouth? Because that makes it gross.
No. I'm not salivating from that. I'm saying all I'm doing is having an admission that wingy and cheese fries are kind of my third and fourth true loves after my girlfriend.
Good to know.
Or fiance, actually now. So
yeah, I was gonna say
she's gonna come in here. She's gonna kick my ass now that I said girlfriend instead of fiance. It's hard. I'm going from girlfriend to fiance, and then eventually wife. So now I'm having to process giving her the correct title as we go. So
sure, yeah, and I struggle with always remembering that we doesn't refer to me and my cat all the time. So appreciate that on the other side of the ball, Derek. Victor jumping in saying, them damn double dippers. You can't have the double dippers. No, I will never. That's why whenever I'm hosting a party, there are spoons in all the dips. There are spoons.
Really, how many times have you ever called out a double dipper though? Victor, you too. Victor, how many times have you called out a double dipper, man?
I've called them out. If I'm enjoying that dip and I see you, I'm like, hey, no, we're sharing. That's not how this is going. You share properly
in the moment, because you're not gonna excuse me. Now
stop drooling. You're choking on your own spit. You're choking on your own spit.
There's no way to be able to monitor the double dipping apparatus the entire time that you're having a party or whatever. So
well, maybe because my friends are all animals and they just keep talking and chewing with their food. I'm like, hey, stop talking, swallow what you're chewing, and then don't re-dip that chip.
Do a fantasy destination draft though, which is way cooler than me. So
which just to speak on that,
opening in that league, you bet. I'm hoping I get an invite, unless you don't want a shark in there, because your boy's going to get after it.
Well, we do have a waiting list for that league, which is a whole other issue of its own. But because I did win that league this past season, the Sunday Fun Day League, Sam is your champion. I get to pick the destination of the draft this year, and I've been having a lot of fun with the guys on speculating where the draft is going to be. Last time I mentioned where it's going to be, I said it's going to be in Antarctica, and it's going to be the Penguin draft. But as soon as I decide on the final location, I will be sure to talk about it on the show. So
I need to determine where I'm going to have my bachelor party. This is where everybody keeps.
Is it not going to be at Hooters?
It may involve a Hooters. We may have our inaugural dinner, celebrating my bachelor party at our local Hooters, but we need to figure out where to go. In fact, I want to keep asking Victor because, Victor is one of our loyal listeners and stuff of that nature. It was actually recently suggested to me to go to Toronto for a party. I wouldn't have thought that. I was thinking, like, of course, myself being from Tampa, Florida, and enjoying sunny weather and stuff of that nature.
Sure.
Toronto was the last place that came to mind. But I would like to hear a sales pitch if Victor has one.
Absolutely. I mean, I've heard, Nashville is really popular for the bachelorette and bachelor parties.
It was great to see a bunch of gals really pissed off that the NFL draft ruined their bachelorette parties.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
What are you going to do? But hey, better question. Am I going to get invited to the bachelor party? Because I'm basically one of the dudes.
No.
Oh, that's sad.
I know. I'm sorry. But that's a hard no.
That's a hard no.
Hard no. I mean, I'm not getting invited into your fantasy league. I'm like 18th on the waiting list. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm 18th on the waiting list, and you're 18th on the bachelor party list.
Bummer. All right. Well, can I just be an alternate?
You can be an alternate. If you want that alternate status, like being named to the alternate, all-star list in the
end. I don't mind being on the bench. That's fine. That's fine. I'll be an alternate.
Fair enough. Go ahead and sign us off.
6th man of the year. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate. Please go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't already on the Fantasy Focus YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode of our show, but also the rest of the wonderful shows that Fantasy Focused has to offer. And thank you to the Original Hooters, a wonderful sponsor of ours. And please enjoy those wings tomorrow if you happen to be enjoying the game at your local Hooters establishment. So if you want to catch Derek or myself on any of the forms of social media, you can find Derek at dtater4 on all forms of social. Myself, you can find on Twitter at Samantha R. Holt and on Instagram at Sam_awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. And guys, have a wonderful Super Bowl party. Derek, go ahead and sign us off.
I'll sign us off. In the spirit of the Black Mamba, guys and gals, go out there and attack anything and everything that you do with any and all of your heart and try to be the best at whatever you do. And until next time, later, says the Tater.
Cheers.